Hello and welcome to the My English Matters podcast. I'm Madam Azimah. I am your host, and today we want to talk about overcoming your fear of public speaking. And I'm not alone today. Joining me is Nadiah binti Najib, or Nad. I'll call her Nad today. She's a town and country planning officer from the Federal Department of Town and Country Planning Malaysia, Plan Malaysia. And I invited her because I recently watched her inspiring and hilarious talk titled From Kena Reject to Steady Bo, My Public Speaking Transformation to her colleagues. Is that the correct pronunciation? Did I just say that? Steady Bo?
Yeah, but I think the boy should be, emphasis on that.
Steady
Yeah.
Bo. Bo.
Bo, yes.
Bo. All right. So that's a Terengganu
Okay,
way.
almost there, almost there.
Almost there, right? So, in her talk, she shared her journey of overcoming her fear of public speaking, the mindset she has for communicating in the English language fluently and confidently. And she also offered valuable tips and shared fascinating stories. So, when I watched her talk, it was aired live on Facebook. Was it to your colleagues? It was for your colleagues,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
so
Right?
yes,
So that
although
was
I didn't
interesting.
know any, I know like 20% of those are new
Mm.
faces, but they're colleagues from different division. Yeah,
No,
but all of them are in the
interesting.
same department. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it live on Facebook. I was like, oh my God, Nadia, that's amazing. Nadia happens to be Amna's friend as back
Oh
in
yeah.
university. Yeah, right. So something I have to mention as well. So I thought, dear listeners and viewers, that this is a perfect opportunity for you to learn from her, her insights, and you'll find her relatable, her experience very relatable. So welcome to the show, Nad.
Hey, thank you for having me,
So
Kasima.
happy to have you. Yay. All right. So before we dive in, I want you to introduce yourself, like who are you, what you're doing now, what you're up to.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Nadia. Nadiah Najib. Although my full name, Kak already mentioned just now, is no Nadiah binti Najib. You can just call me Nadia. Sometimes I like to joke with people. You can also call me Ashwarya Rai or Deepika Padukone. Not just for ice breaking.
All right.
I'm all for it, yeah.
Okay.
Or Kajol, sometimes people call me. And I am a government servant, a town and country planning officer. The thing is that we do a lot of planning and development for the country, yes, and policy, and even like if in the layman term you can see all those mapping or those policies, how they want to build a house, a township, that kind of thing. But that's just only 1% of what we do. Whatever that I'm doing now may not be that relatable with language, but
Mm,
what if I told you that whatever that your work is, you really need to know any language that is good. You have to
right.
have that speaking skill. You have to understand, because I deal with a lot of people. I used to be frontliners working in a local authority, in fact, two local authorities. So the communication skill is very important, and the
Mm.
language skill as well. So
Right.
yeah, despite being government servant, I am very interested with public speaking skill. Yes.
Interesting. We'll
Mm-hmm.
get more to that, but I just wanted to ask you: did you always speak English growing up? Is that how you communicated at home?
Not really. No, not really.
Mm.
The thing is that if I can share my background, my late dad is actually Indian, Malaysian Indian. Yeah, so I have aunties who not very good with Malay, but not that good with English. So she speaks Urdu or Hindi. And
Mm.
my mom, which has Chinese descent,
Mm.
her grandmother is from China. So
Mm.
and I think she was in English school,
Right.
and I believe in those days, English schools are they have very high quality education. So my mom is a very good English speaker, and the thing
Mm.
is that we use Bahasa Terengganu at home, but
Mm.
my mom, because of her interest, because of I think she's quite like very hippie like kind of person. So we listen to a lot of BBC radios and
Mm.
songs. So that's how, and she reads a lot of books.
Right.
Although in those days they have this book, no, Meals and Boons. I don't know if Kak Zima.
Yes. Oh my God. I've
I
never
know
read
those are
that
those
series, never.
Those romantic novels, yeah. I still remember she has all those kind of books. Not just that, but there were several. Like, and she
Okay.
also collect magazines. So that's how I think that the exposure is there. And plus, growing up in Terengganu,
Mm,
most of my neighbors are Chinese.
right.
Yeah, and we could be the only no non-Chinese family there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those the parents, although they are not very fluent in English, but they try to use English with their children.
Mm,
So that is kind of
okay.
exposure that I have. Sometimes very
Right.
simple English, but they use the language. So my auntie somehow used that approach as well. But it's not that
Mm,
in a way that in advanced English, no, just simple English. I remember growing up,
mm-hmm.
my auntie made sure that I watched Sesame Street in the morning.
Okay. Of course.
We used to
Yeah,
have
I
that,
used to
yeah,
do that.
Sesame
Yeah.
Street. Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. I
uh,
love that.
I love it too. I don't know whether it's to quiet me down or so that she can do other work, but it helps.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely. And you did go to the UK. You spent some years in the UK. How old were you at the time?
I think 11, 12.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 years,
11,
11,
12.
12.
Right.
Yeah,
2 years.
2011,
2 years
12.
you were there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Did
the thing
that
is, Kak
somehow?
Zima,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, sorry, I had to cut you there.
No,
Because
it's
there's
okay.
always this people perception that if you went to UK, your English would be, like sparkling, perfect, and very
Mm-hmm.
advanced. Well, the thing is that before I went there, I think my English level is already good to the
Hmm.
sense that once I was there, I found that I was very surprised to see the local whites, especially, um, that their English is not that, it's not something that I expected them to have
Oh, I
that kind of
see.
level. Yeah. So while I was there, I was teaching other students grammar, although I'm not good with grammar.
You taught the not the natives, but the other children in your classmates. What?
There's also native, yeah. Andrew McCann, I
Mm,
still remember his name. Yeah, and he was wondering why you're so good with your English, Nadia. You've never been here. I'm like, oh, we I was taught to this. We were forced to learn this in school in Malaysia.
right, right, right,
Yeah,
right.
I just like to like to because I think people have perception that once you study overseas, you have to have a very good English. But my late dad is not the case. He went there for his masters, but at the end of the day, he doesn't really use a lot of English.
Mm,
So I think it comes down to how you use it.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I agree with that. I remember my struggle as went there when I was 8. I didn't speak a word of English. I understood my classmates very well, but I was really afraid to speak. And they spoke
Mm,
quite fast, right? With their
wow.
accents as well.
Oh
So I
my
was like, oh my
God.
god, that
Yeah.
was very scary. So the only thing I did was I watched a lot of television shows. I read a lot. I collected vocabulary and words and all of that, and started to write. That was how I did it through writing and listening. Until one day, maybe a year later, don't remember. A few months later, maybe I can't remember. But one day, my teacher said, "Okay, Azimah, can you teach your classmates English?" And I was like, "What?" And I had to teach a native.
Mm,
Writing was I think it was writing and spelling. So, that I can relate to that, Nadia, in that sense. But we did have to work hard for that, right, Nadia,
yeah, it's not
to
like
get to
you
that
were
level.
born and yeah, yeah, it's not something easy, to get that, but not to like lower everyone's spirits, but it's always good that you can start now. It's never
Mm-hmm.
too
Mm-hmm.
late for anything.
Never.
But
Right.
yeah, but in our story, because we have to do that at a very early age, we have to survive. I think
Exactly.
so. That's yeah, and we got to do that at an early age. I think everyone
Yeah.
have the same level of appreciation, and I have the same experience as you, Kak Zima. I
Mm.
had to teach the natives of how to do poetry, poem,
Oh.
how to write poem, and I was very surprised as well because because I think Miss Satchel.
Mm. Mm.
I think the reason why my talk was titled "Kena Reject" because before
Mm.
I went to UK, I was in
Mm-hmm.
Sekolah Menengah Sultan Sulaiman
Okay.
in Terengganu, called Terengganu. I think those from Terengganu they might know the school. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
actually a very legendary school.
Yeah, it's a
And
prestigious school, definitely. Still is,
Oh,
still is.
yeah. I went there for my primary school. Yeah, it was actually primary school and secondary school, Sultan Sulaiman, and I got rejected many times. And I think my English during those time are not that bad, but it
Okay.
was not tested. So I think I got good marks for my English test, and I say, like, you know what? Uh, at those time, I didn't know that I have ADHD. So
Mm.
I have problem, communicating with people. And sometimes I have so
Mm.
many things in my head, but things that's come out, like I have, for example, I have 10 things in my head, but none of
Okay.
them comes out from me. So
Got it.
I really
Yeah.
struggle. Yeah. So I thought that, or maybe
Mm.
if I join something, like public speaking or choir singing, like chorus speaking,
Right.
maybe it can help me. And plus, even with the Chinese, I mean, they're very good. They kind of like induce you to be competitive. So they taught me
Mm.
math. So I have to have something that I can teach them in return. But I am not good in math. So I thought,
Mm-hmm.
oh, maybe
Mm-hmm.
language could be my forte. So that's why I push myself to learn English. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. So is that how you got into speaking on stage
Yeah.
professionally?
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Some memorable moments, your journey, the challenges you faced. What was that like?
No, funnily enough, I started with singing Shair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I started with Malay public speaking, not English. And at that time, I realized that, yeah, this is fun, minus the stage fright, minus all those numerous toilets visit, it was
Mm.
fun nevertheless. And I thought, that, yeah, this could be good. I
How
answered
old
so
were
many
you at that
television.
time? How old were you at the
I think
time when you started
13,
to 13? Okay.
13,
Okay.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
13. I started at 10. 10 is Shair singing, poetry.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
10 Chinese singing poetry, and then 13 I entered storytelling competition, and I actually memorized the classical hantua, a very classic, like Maka Hikayat ini, all those, it's not ordinary. And the jury was so impressed, and maybe they really pity me because, oh, you memorize all this, it's okay, we give you consolation prize. I didn't manage to win, but it was a good experience. And
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, but I realized that I started to join on those things, but I never won really, and I got rejected a lot. Meaning
Ah.
that, for example, during my RSM school, I still remember, but I will not name the teacher. It was during my Form 4 years. I actually offered myself, I actually, what? Can I join this DBT? I think I have the, I mean, I think I can learn and maybe I can try my best, and I was rejected because of where I'm from. Although it's
Mm.
not obvious, but it was kind of, like it was subtly
Because you
obvious.
were
How can I
from
put?
Terengganu. Was that
Yeah,
the reason? I see. But this was
yeah.
yours. This was in high school, and it was not in Terengganu. It was.
It was in Terengganu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So I don't get it.
because
How
in
come? Okay,
Mara Junior College, we have people coming from from all states, different states.
got
So
it.
that's how the perception goes. You know what? If you were from West Coast,
Mm,
Selangor, Selangor, Malacca, or KL, you're definitely going
yeah.
to have good English. But if you're from Kelantan, Terengganu, the East Coast, or the
Mm,
Northern Coast, oh, definitely
yeah.
doom. You have no idea. I mean, there's no way that you can do good with English. So that's the first thing that I came across. It was told to me personally by the teachers. So nobody else knows about this. So I was very
Mm,
shocked. I'm like, how can you be so confident that people coming from the East Coast and Northern Coast or other area are not good? And how can you do that? I mean,
mm,
language is a language. Everyone can learn. Everyone can know, like, try their no try their best.
mm,
So
mm,
that's how I got rejected, and I don't like it. So that's
mm,
why I always been very vocal about using English no matter who you are, where you're from, and it
mm,
was not bound by any races as well. So, and I had this perception as well because in my primary school they have choral speaking,
mm.
and I was auditioning for certain part. So when I entered the room, the teacher immediately say, "No, not her. No, she's Malay. I don't think she can use English." And
Mm.
that
Oh my
was said direct to my face, and I I call it as language racism.
Okay. It's a good word.
But that
Okay.
happened. Yeah, that
Mm,
happened. I was
mm,
very
mm.
surprised, and
Yeah.
I got that a lot. I'm not sure about other people, but really dampen your spirit and really demotivates you to learn more because you kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. If you don't find it, you tend to accept. Yeah, I'm from Terengganu. I am Malay, so there's no way I can be good with this language. Yeah.
Interesting. But I guess through that, you developed quite a thick skin, and
Mm.
this desire to improve, or prove to others, prove to yourself that you can do it. Those are the things that got you where you are. And I'm not saying that we should go through all of the pain to get where you are, but I think sometimes the pain motivated you in a way, right?
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to where you are right now. I think I heard you mention in your talk that I watched on Facebook, you went to Japan and then you started to do mentoring. Did you do some of those things? Public
Yeah.
speaking over there. Okay, can you
Yes,
talk
I
a
did.
little bit
Yeah.
about that? Okay.
Um, for Japan, I was awarded a scholarship by the Japanese government.
Mhm.
And one thing that I started to realize that you have to be very good with your interview. You have to know how to convey your ideas and
Mhm.
your aspiration, your vision. So being able to do that is to have a very good communication skill. I mean, your speaking skill has to be good,
Yeah.
and that's what I've been telling my colleagues and my friends. Never doubt yourself because you can do that. You can even if you can use Malay to express yourself, that's not really that you can use other language. It's a matter of whether you're confident, you're not confident. So that's one thing. And while I was there, I don't feel, and I do feel a bit inferior because you do have like somebody from Poland, somebody from Hungary, there's Australians definitely, and but somehow when I presented my master thesis,
Mm.
yeah, and the lecturers were very, they said that, oh, you really do good. You have a very good speaking skill. You know how to use certain element, you know, like hook before you start your speech, before you start your
Wow,
presentation.
you even did that, the hook for this academic presentation? That's great.
Yes, I was presenting something, but I did something on sustainability. So I start
Mm.
my speech with this. Okay, imagine sustainability is not it's more easy than you think. For example, I love coffee. Do you like coffee? And they say, oh yeah, we love coffee. And I think, have you wonder? Have you been to your coffee shop near your house? Not
Mm.
not the big franchise, the one that we know, but more like local coffee. They say, yeah, yeah. Have you asked them where the coffee
Oh,
bean
so you
comes
had the
from?
interaction as well. Was
Yeah,
it?
and
So this is an academic presentation, wasn't
yes,
it? So who was in the
my
audience?
supervisor was there, and my classmate was there as well.
Got it. Got it.
And I have
Yes.
English lecturer. So I one thing is that I don't really like something that is maybe because of my ADHD trait, but I don't like something that's too serious.
Yeah.
But
Nobody
when you
likes
have
it
to,
when it's so serious, even though it's
yeah,
academic, right? Yeah, because I think a lot of our students feel a little bit nervous about cracking a joke or two. You don't have to
mm-hmm.
tell a joke,
No,
but
you don't have to, but yeah.
you do need some engagement. Maybe tell a personal story, or those are the elements that can get them to pay attention, right?
Yeah, because you have to make sure that that you and the audience are on the same page.
Mm,
So if they don't understand, you have to share your interest, whatever that you're trying to convey. And you know what? Okay, say this is what I'm going to talk about. How does
mm,
it touch you? I mean, does it touches you in a way that it touches me? So, for example, sustainability, I'm using the best example because I know that most of my colleagues loves coffee. So I told them, like, okay, yeah, have you asked them about the coffee? But sorry. Oh,
it's okay.
this is coughing, just like this is nervousness.
No, you're doing very well. Don't worry. All right.
Yeah, it's about
So,
sustainability about that. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
Uh, who taught you these skills?
Um, it's only recently that I got into classes, courses because I was able to. But
Mm-hmm.
before, it's not that easy to get into courses because it's very expensive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think yours is quite affordable. I mean, in terms of because it's a long term training. But those days before we have you and Amna Kazima, it was very hard. It's not easy. So I tend to learn from books,
Mm, mm-hmm.
and
Got it.
I watch a lot of BBC documentaries. I think
Mm,
British make the best documentaries, and the way that they speak, the way that they narrate things, and that's how I learn. For example, I love Lucy Worsley. She's a historian, and
mm-hmm.
the way that she presents her ideas is amazing. It's always
Mm,
interesting. Although she was speaking about Henry VIII and his wives, but
mm-hmm.
I have no idea who. I mean, you're in Malaysia. There's no. Why do you want to know about the history of British, some royal wife? Like. But the way that she share it sounds it makes it really interesting.
Right.
You know what?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
and
you
it's like
learn from that, from watching the documentaries and reading books, and then trying to apply the things that you've learned in your speaking.
yeah,
That's it.
and
Yep.
stand-up comedian. I love
Yes.
watching a lot of stand-up comedians, so comedy, and the way
Yeah.
that they kind of grab the attention from the audience is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I use that a lot, and I love humor, so that really helps me indirectly.
Oh yeah, wonderful. Okay. I got this impression that you actually went for a public speaking um competition. I
Oh
think you
yes,
mentioned this.
recently,
Yes, you did, right?
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What was that process like? And what did you learn from that?
Ah, this is interesting. I think have you heard about Toastmaster Club?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it shows how different we are, Kak Zima, because I thought it was actually like a food club. How do you
Food.
how do you make different toasts in different days? I swear, I thought it was food club. I was like, oh, interesting. And
Okay.
then I realized, oh, it's actually a public speaking club. So,
Mm.
okay. And I thought it was very prestigious and very exclusive. It's not for everyone. So,
Okay.
and I've seen the course, like government servant, we have intern. So there are certain courses that we can apply for free. And for you to get to this course, you have to enter public speaking, a competition.
Wait,
That's a
to get to
yeah,
enroll in the course, you have to go through a public speaking competition
you have to
or
pass the semi-final selection.
to enter the course or to graduate from the course?
To enter the course, then they'll teach you
Oh,
on how to do it
int-
for the finals, for the semi-finals and finals. Okay, first I have to submit videos. We have to do
oh,
a topic on about harnessing AI
wow.
as part of our, I don't know, but yeah, AI efficiency and stuff, AI, those technology things.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to do it last minute. It
Mm.
was way past the submission date at 12 at night, and I decided, you know what, this could be it. It's now or never. So I kind of like impulsively, started to record, and I record my speech, and it was done within 10 minutes, way after the submission date. So the next day, I was so shocked that I was selected from 70 submission, 60,
Whoa.
70 submission,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like 30 of us were selected. And mind you, there's like government servant across Malaysia, all over Malaysia. We have some from Sabah and Sarawak.
Whoa.
We have
Okay.
from different kind of states and different departments. Some of them are
Okay.
very advanced, and some of them are even English lecturers and English teachers.
Mm.
And I was very surprised. And then
Mm-hmm.
when we got selected, only then we can join the course. The course was
Ooh.
offered by Midfront, and I think Mas Mahadi is the third world champion in terms
Mm-hmm.
of public speaking in the world, and he's very
Mm-hmm.
good. And I think that I couldn't pass this opportunity. I need to join this so that I can learn from him. And
Right.
yeah, and that's how I got into the course, and I
Mm-hmm.
learned it, and we got into semi-final. And
Mm.
again, from out of 30 people, only 10 were selected, and I got selected as among the 10 finalists.
Wow, amazing. That's amazing. What a journey. Okay, so how long was the course?
Days. It
Oh, it was
was in
only a 2 day
2 days.
course.
Yeah, but it's
Okay,
quite intensive.
it's
All
quite
out,
yeah.
yeah. And
Ooh.
I learned a lot, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how you do it. That's how you look very confident. And I learned the structure because all this while I have no idea what this. I just randomly, using something that's like sound more like practical, like logic or this kind
Mm-hmm,
of
mm-hmm,
thing. But I learned about structure as well. You have this introduction and stuff. They have even have acronyms for that. I'm not sure. I don't remember
mm.
anymore. I have to check again. Sorry, Mas Mahadi.
Yeah,
ADHD thing, and but it helps me structure my speech. And now I realize that okay, I've been doing this without knowing all this while, but
mm-hmm,
I really struggle because I don't really understand the process. So that's
mm,
why those who are joining Katsima and Amna's class and workshops and seminar, you should just continue because it's good for you to learn. Sometimes you can speaking is just like randomly speaking, but
mm-hmm,
it helps you to understand um, how to structure your speech and how to kind of like help you doing speaking skill, and it helps you not to feel nervous.
mm.
Yeah, because okay,
Yes,
after this I'm going to have to do this. After this I'm going to have to do this. Yeah.
right, right. You know the steps, right? The do's and don'ts. That's interesting. I wanted to ask you secrets to memorizing your content, if there's such a thing. Did you have to memorize things? Did you have to?
Oh,
Did you write out your script, or was it in bullet points? What was that like?
when I was in Form 5, I've entered a debating team, and I
Mm-hmm,
was taught
mm-hmm.
by Madam Kairia, and she's still teaching now. And it's that it's never memorize.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
so daunting. I mean, it is very scary. How can you not memorize thing? And especially when using language this is not common for you. I mean, this
Mm,
is not your mother tongue. English is definitely it's not Malay where you can goreng, like
yeah.
um, use flowery sentences because of very unknown to you. So always understand. First, you have to feel it. This is like
Mm.
kung fu master kind of thing. You have to feel it. You have to understand the topic that you want to tell people,
I
and
understand. Yeah.
find the best example that you can use that other people can relate. That this is the most
Mm,
I think the crucial part and quite difficult as well. There's no way you can find something that can be relate by everyone. So at least if
okay.
you reach out to at least 50% of your audience, that's good enough. That's what she told me, and I'm like, okay, all right. And mind you, the debate format is interparliamentary debate, meaning that
Mm-hmm.
people can interrupt you while you're giving
Okay.
your points, and you have to answer them, and then goes back to your speech. So
Ooh.
you have to be alert, and you have to multitask while doing that. You have to think. So that's why,
Exactly.
yeah.
Tell us
So
that process.
memorizing is bad. Yeah.
So how did you handle that when they were asking you questions and then you had to multitask, you had to answer and then go get back to your point? What was that process like?
Oh, I think that's a turning point for me. That's why I learned a lot about about listening. I always say to people that speaking is actually listening. Some
Mm,
people they listen to just to answer things back. Some people they just speak but they don't listen. So that's when I realized that if I listen more, then I can speak better. So
mm,
uh, I remember once that was during semi-final. This was during semi-final, and then there's a guy from Mersing Kuantan, I believe. We were talking about fictions and non-fiction, which is more beneficial. And I was talking about Jules Verne, and I
What
told
was it
them,
again?
okay,
I didn't hear that top. What did you have to talk about?
about fiction and non-fiction.
Oh, okay, fiction and non-fiction.
Yeah,
Okay, got it. All
yeah.
right.
So which
Books.
story is more
Books.
beneficial? And I
Stories.
think that's
Okay.
actually a stupid topic because both are beneficial. But you have to come up with topics. So yeah,
Of course. Yeah. This was in high school,
yeah.
so it's okay.
Was in high school, so it's
It's
okay.
fun. It's
But
a fun topic.
yeah, but those who's listening, just read whatever you can read. Don't worry
Mm,
about that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was giving my speech, I was saying that okay, I highlighted my point that okay, Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, is one of the best example of how human mind can think and can comprehend, can create their own fantasy, but in a way that it can be replicated in real world. And suddenly this guy from I think Emerson Guantan raised his hand and told me that, oh, so you're talking that we should believe there's mermaids and all that? And I somehow, because I know the book, I've read the book, I'm like, okay, well, thank you for your concern, but there's no mermaids in Joven's story, in Joven's 20,000 Odyssey. Thank you. And then I continue with my speech. So, but I will not be able to do that if I memorize my speech.
You would not be able to
Yeah.
respond, right?
Yes,
Got
because
it.
because you'll be panicking. You don't know where you stop.
Mm,
Okay, there's like 2 pages of lengthy essays, and you don't. Okay, what happened next? So I remember 2 points, but
mm,
I do have some like bullet elaboration. It was done in
mm,
bulleted in just one, two, three kind of points, just in points. There'll be like one big major point and no
mm.
sub points. That's
Sub
all.
points, and then
Mm-hmm.
riff off from there the points. Oh, that's interesting. But that's the scary part, isn't it? And it does take practice, right? Because there are
Yeah.
good days, there are bad days, right?
You know what,
So
Kak Sima, let me share this with
yeah,
you, just how
yeah.
bad I was before. There's
Mm,
one lady. There was during my first interparliamentary debate kind of format. We have this like friendly competition. My coach just want to, like okay, this is how it was. And one of the student, I think, also from the local schools in Terengganu, asked me, "Was it omnipresent?" I have no idea what does the word means at that time.
mm,
I couldn't
mm,
answer it, and I
mm,
got panic and uh, you know, I couldn't continue with my speed. I couldn't continue with my points because I don't know the word.
yeah.
And and what I learned from that is that if you if your mind goes blank and you have no idea what to do it, try to wing it the other way around.
Hmm. All
Yeah,
right,
use
got it.
back the point. You can always ask questions back. I mean, I regret not asking. What do you mean by omnipresent? Yeah,
Got it. Hmm.
yeah, and
You should have.
I can
You
always
feel like
ask
you should
her.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have done that. You know what? What do you mean by omnipresent? Uh, Are you saying that it is not visible or what it was? But you might as well stupid. But by throwing back the question to the lady, maybe I can like calm myself down, and have bought my more time for me to think. So that's what I learned.
That's good. Love that. Yes. I do we do teach our students that too. If they don't understand, then ask. So most of our
Mm.
students are afraid to ask because they one thing they're afraid to appear like they don't understand. So they'd rather not answer or they just panic. Or secondly, they don't know what to say. They don't know it just stuns them. So looking back,
Yeah, yeah.
Nadia, was that a turning point for you? How did you realize that this is something that you should have done? Was it after or is it years later? Did you get feedback from that?
Even today,
Oh,
even until
it,
today, it still plays in my mind. It's like,
right.
yeah, I realized that, oh, okay, things could have been different if I were to do this, if I were to do that during
Mm,
those time. And that's why whenever I share things, tips with my friend, I always told them it's okay to look stupid because
mm,
um, learning is a process, and because language is not like maths where you have formula and it was there and then and it was clear cut kind of process. But language is something I like to say it's something like organic, like there's no wrong or right to it.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
And sometimes, if you just like you say, Kak Zima, if you listen to native, especially native speaker, uh, I noticed that they use this kind of grammar. For example, I was sat there on the bench for many
Mm,
hours, but it was actually
mhm.
wrong grammatically, isn't it? But
Yeah.
yeah, but it's fine with them because that's how they use it.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm, mm,
so
mm, mm.
there's no right and wrong. Just do your best. If you know that it's wrong, then improve it the next time. But
Yeah.
I was so stunned. I was so scared that kind of hindered my improvement for several moments for quite some time.
Mm.
until I asked my teacher, Madam, what is omnipresent?
Mm.
And I said, oh, Nadia, I was like this. See, it kind of solved a lot of problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You learn.
it's always good to,
Mm. Yeah, and then you learn from your past mistakes, and now you know what to do, right? And that's because now that you know what to do, you're now more confident. So every mistake is just a chance for you to learn from and teach others later on. Like this is what you're doing right now. You're teaching to our listeners and our viewers. So amazing. Okay,
and there's
just
no way that I could get this to this level if I didn't do a lot of mistakes in the past.
oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, I do have just a few more questions, if you don't mind. I
Yeah,
wanted
sure.
to ask you a little bit about your struggles with ADHD. What do you mean by the struggles? What happens when you are a person diagnosed with ADHD?
Okay, I was late diagnosed. It was an early diagnosis, by the way. But if I were to follow up just for medication, I am unmedicated at the moment. I was very busy. I couldn't really follow up with all those appointments yet, but I'm going to. And ADHD is something people always associate ADHD with hyperactivity, but it's actually it's not. Okay, it is
Mm.
very hyper, but it's in your head. It doesn't mean that I will be jumping around, screaming. No, that does not. Especially for adult, for female adult, it's more subtle because we have this called stimming or masking because you don't
Oh,
feel normal, so you kind of mask it. That's what I've been telling you,
right.
Kak Zima. The reason why I'm able to do, I'm able to look confident and charismatic, as you have mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
because I was able to mask those, features that I don't associate with being a normal person. For
Mm.
example, ADHD, we tend to talk very fast
Mm.
and we tend to overshare things.
Overshare. Okay.
Overshare, yeah. And I found myself interrupting other
Mm.
people, but it's not being rude or arrogant, but it's just that I would like to share things as well. And my mind kind of like get always stimulated when I got very excited speaking the same topic. It's like, oh my god, we're on the same boat, we're on the same boat, like jumping around, and but it's all in my head. And there are times when you try to speak to other people, and it's very frustrating because they don't understand you. I don't know how to say this, but often when I gave out my points or opinions, it was good. It got misunderstood,
Mm.
and they kind of repeated in a way that, you know what, that's exactly what I'm going to tell you, but what they listen is a totally different thing. So I have no idea. Maybe the processing of the language that I used, and one thing is I am super introverted,
Yeah.
despite
It's, it
despite
doesn't
looking
look like
like a
you're an
comedian.
introvert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, Kazima, oh my God, you know what? I kind of like I shivers in public engagement.
Mm.
It's very difficult for me, but yeah, that's the thing with ADHD. So during those days, especially my younger years, I have no idea what's wrong with me. I thought it was just I'm just being awkward and different and nerdy from other people. So to do that, that's why I really push myself to do public speaking because I really want to make friends.
Oh, right.
I don't want to feel left out, and I don't want them to see me as super arrogant because even my parents sometimes misunderstood me,
Mm.
not in a negative way, but they don't understand me, and I don't know how to tell them. I mean, I didn't mean to. For example, I have this thing called time blindness. I just realized this, and you kind of like you can get detached with certain things. So it's very difficult. It's a
What was the
struggle
term?
and
Time, time,
blindness.
blindness. T I
Yeah,
M E.
yeah, time.
Okay,
Mm.
okay,
Certain people have face blindness where they don't remember people.
okay.
Yeah,
All right, yeah, all
and
right.
yeah,
But
and
time
I get
blindness, what does that mean again? Can you
time blindness
elaborate?
meaning that you don't
Can't
really
see. You're not
um
aware
yes, you're not aware of the time of
of the
time.
time. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that happened a lot to me as well. So imagine working, being a working woman. I mean, you work in a government servant in a very super busy division. So that really poses a struggle. That's why I think I need to have a good communication skill so that I can convey myself to people and not be misunderstood on that. And
Right.
yeah, and one thing, you get random mood swing.
Mm,
Yeah,
got
and
it.
you got,
Yeah.
yeah, and I couldn't sleep at night. There are times when I go sleepless for
Mm-hmm.
months, sometimes.
Wow.
Mm. Yeah,
Those were
on
your
on top of
struggles.
that,
Right. Right.
yeah, on top of that, I also have lupus for skin. I have skin lupus. It's an
Mm-hmm.
autoimmune problem. So
Mm-hmm.
when that happened, I mean, I have rashes on my face, and I have
Mm-hmm.
ADHD problem. So it kind of really make it more awkward and super frustrating because people don't understand. And
Yeah.
yeah, and therefore I think public speaking really helps me with that.
Mm.
Hmm.
Amazing. Meaning that you developed your skills in communicating so that people don't misunderstand you, and then you're able to express yourself better, right? You didn't know that you struggle with ADHD and all of that, but
No, I have no
you
idea. Only recently, yeah. Just this,
only
I
recently.
think only recently, yeah.
Mm,
Hmm.
got it. Got it.
And
Wow.
I do have, like I feel overwhelmed with things, so I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't function.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and it
So
was underdiagnosed by a woman, so I really like, if you, for the listeners, so sorry guys, but this is another sign of ADHD. I keep interrupting you.
no, it's fine. This is an interview where you're allowed to interrupt me. You're my guest.
Yeah, I really like to know that. Okay, there's like, okay, I'm googling this because I couldn't put it in words. Like common signs are, I zone out when others speak. I tend to forget things. I struggle to organize, and I'm feeling restless, interrupting others when they speak. That is
Yeah,
actually quite a major sign of ADHD.
I
So
see.
I think to all listeners, it's okay, if you feel that something is wrong, maybe go and get diagnosed. It's okay because it's a huge relief when I realized that, oh, this is ADHD, and
Mm.
suddenly I feel normal. I feel like, okay, this is not my
Mm.
fault. It feels like
Right.
huge weight off my chest. Like,
Oh,
okay, that's why I'm like this. So
that
it
you
really
can put
helps
a
me.
label, meaning that you can put a label to this and find the solutions to these, yeah, to the struggles. That's amazing. And I think in a way that your struggles have actually led you to where you are right now. That when I listened to you and I watched you on Facebook, I you had this authenticity, and that's what makes you unique, Nadia. So it's
Oh,
something that
thank
I want
you.
my listeners as well to understand, that all your experience, the bad, the good, makes you unique. And when you use that as your strength, you know, you develop this charisma, this way of speaking that's only unique to you. So that's really important.
But I do want to ask, from Kak Zima,
Mhm.
about humor. You mentioned about humor. I tend to use a lot of humor. Sometimes it goes out of control for me, from my point of view. So how much is too much, and
Yeah. How much is too much? I think a sense of humor here and there. It really depends on the topic. I mean, I think you know that you're using it to relate with the others, especially if it's a very so-called boring and dry topic. You can insert a little bit of humor to get their attention back, to get the energy from the audience. I think that's great, as long as your humor is controlled. You know, it doesn't
Yeah.
divert from the topic, from the message or the action, the takeaway. You know, you do not want them to come out of your presentation thinking, oh, she's funny. What was it about? Oh, she just told this joke. But that was not the point of your presentation. That's all
Exactly.
they
Yeah.
remembered, right? That's all they remember. So that means that it was too much. That's when you know, oh gosh,
Yeah.
my humor overshadowed my message. So you have to strike a balance. Yeah, I
No,
love
but
watching
but
comedians. Yeah.
I know. But how about your personal review on how do I present myself that day in TED Talk? I think the listener should know this as well. Things that way they can improve.
Yeah.
Because I just want to tell them that no matter how good you are,
Mm-hmm.
how wonderful, or how many in competition have you been, or how many times have you done the public speaking, speeches in the event from an audience. There's always the there's always like the time when you're nervous and you
Mm-hmm,
have no
mm-hmm,
idea what you just did on the stage. I think
mm-hmm.
that's very common for everyone, despite how
Yeah.
how advanced you are, right, Katsima?
Right. You're always, I mean, the best speakers are the ones who reflect at the end, like, how was it? If they have someone to ask, they can ask somebody that they trust, how was it? How did it go? Okay. So that they can improve the next time. But then at the same time, you also have uh, to acknowledge that you did well, to congratulate
Mm-hmm.
yourself, you know? If you have no one to talk to, you're like, oh my God, I did it. So there's a balance between feeling relieved that and proud of yourself, but also
Mm-hmm.
thinking, okay, what can I do next to improve? Maybe tell more jokes or tell less jokes or speak more so-called formal or speak more
Mm-hmm.
Malay, insert some Malay jokes, whatever. I think
Mm-hmm.
Nadia, when I watched that, it was santai, that's the word that I wanted to use, and it made everybody
Mm-hmm.
feel comfortable. That's what hooked me to listen to you from beginning to the end. It was what I needed to hear. It was great. So I want to encourage my listeners to watch you, and maybe we'll give a link to your talk. It was still on, on Facebook. So,
Well, the thing is that I believe that when you do your speech, it's rather than portraying that you have very good English skills. It's rather that
mm-hmm,
you wanted to share things with your audience. I think,
mm,
of course, I'll be a Muslim. You say that, yeah, yeah, the intention is her to be there. But I really
it's
feel,
okay.
I don't really like the things I went through, all those
Mm-hmm,
racism in language, the
mm-hmm,
weird stuff. So I just want to tell them that it's okay to do mistakes. And I really love the examples that I used. I got that from a TED talk from this lady. I think she's an English teacher and she's a
mm,
native,
mm-hmm,
but she lives in Malaysia for several years. The thing about comprehension, I've used
mm.
that in my TED talk as well. That really hits the point. It
Can you
really
tell us a
hits
little
me.
bit more about that? What did you say about comprehension so that our listeners know
Okay,
what you're
during
referring
our
to?
prime, yeah, during our primary and secondary school, we have
Mm-hmm,
comprehensions, we have English language tests. So during those days, marks are given, not just for the fact that you understand the essay, but the grammar, the way they answer it. So we were taught since we are small that in order to be good and to get good marks, you have to be good in everything. For example, if you answer your essay, the paragraph, okay, what do you know about this essay? You answer it correctly. You understand the whole passage,
mm,
but because of a mere grammatical or error, you didn't get the point for that. True?
mm. Got
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
your answer is deemed as not correct. So
Mm,
it was not correct answer just because of grammatical mistake. But you understand the question. So that kind of deter us from using the language because it was being set in our mind that to be able to use language, you have to be perfect.
mm.
The sentence has to be 100% immaculate. I mean, has to be
Yeah.
grammatically correct. It has to be this kind of vocabulary, that kind of thing. So
Mm,
I don't agree with that. For me,
mm-hmm,
it's good enough that you understand the passage.
mm, mm,
Yeah, I mean, of course, when writing, you have to know grammar, but in terms of speaking, in terms of getting the message across, you are already there. So we should also celebrate that. And I think many people, when I asked this in TED Talk, many kind of like that, they know that, then they even raise their hand. They agree. They say that this kind of experience really, stops them from using English
mm.
because they thought that, no, I'm not good enough for
No,
this.
they'll wait.
Hmm.
They want to wait until they are perfect, right?
Yeah, but
Then they
yeah,
will
but
speak.
I was like, that's what I thought. But then, until when? I mean, you have no idea your English is good or not until you use it, right?
Yeah, that is
Mm-hmm.
true. That is true. All right. So thank you so much, Nadia. I mean, you've shared quite a lot. And hopefully, inshallah, our listeners have found your stories inspiring and relatable. You talked about your struggles with ADHD. You talked about language discrimination or language racism. I like that term.
Yeah, I find
uh,
at times quite, yeah, I need to like, do copyright reserve for that.
but I like it. You know, it's catchy. I also want to, yeah, that's a good thing. When you start to create new words and new terms, it becomes yours. It's your trademark now. You can use it. It's not trademarked, but you know what
Ooh.
I'm saying? It's like, oh, Nadia said this. I actually want to, I actually want to tell you that um, you shared something about when people throw you lemons, you make lemonade, but you said that your mom says when people throw you ikan bilis, you make sambal. Do you remember you said that
Yeah.
in one of your in
Yeah.
your talks the other day? And I
Yeah.
actually that is now your quote. And I actually used that. I said, Nadia, our friend said this, and actually told that I actually repeated that quote to my students. So Nadia, keep creating funny quotes, funny terms, not just Nadia, but our listeners. You guys can create your
Mm-hmm.
own words and make that yours. So
Yeah.
with that, Nadia, thank you so
I
much
think,
for your time.
yeah. And I hope that nobody will go have to go through things that I went through, like the language racism. And I hope they'll be more confident to use English.
Mm,
And don't wait, just start now.
thank you. Yes, don't wait, start now. That's Nadia's final words and advice to all our listeners. Thank you so much, Nadia, for joining us. And hopefully, you can join us next time. And I encourage our listeners and viewers to watch Nadia's talk. It's called, let me just, it's called From Canary Jack to Steady. Nadia, you have to say that word.
Ball, steady ball. Yeah.
Love it. All right, so thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Nadia. Okay,
Okay, thank you
Assalamualaikum
everyone.
warahmatullahi
Bye.
wabarakatuh.
Um,
Bye.
bye. Assalam.